I'm Sadie, 29, sitting in my Seattle apartment. The faint hum of rain tapping the window, a gray rhythm. Harper's wedding invitation lies on my table, its cream paper pristine but heavy like a stone sinking in my chest. She banned me from her big day, claiming I sabotaged her joy with one question about her fiancé's murky past. My heart aches recalling how I shielded her as kids, her small hand in mine, her laugh bright. Instead of begging, I booked a solo vacation craving escape. I didn't know her perfect day would unravel, revealing family secrets. Have you ever been pushed out by someone you love? Tell me where you're watching from, and please like and subscribe for more stories. The week after Harper's invitation arrived, I sat at my kitchen table, its chipped wood cool under my palms, my laptop open to a blank email. The cursor blinked, mocking my hesitation, the room dim with morning fog. I'm Sadie, 29, and I've always been the fixer, the one who mended things. Growing up, I'd bandage Harper's scraped knees, sneak her cookies. When Mom grounded her, her giggles. My reward, her eyes bright with trust. Now she's 25, radiant, and somehow done with me. Her call burned in my ears. You sabotaged my engagement party, Sadie. You're out. Her voice was cold. No trace of the girl who'd burrow into my side during storms, her hair soft against my arm. I'd only asked Miles about his job because his evasiveness unsettled me. His consulting boasts came with a slick smile, answers vague as fog, his eyes dodging mine. I wasn't trying to ruin her joy. I wanted her safe. I typed, "Harper, can we talk? I'm sorry if I upset you." I hit send, my stomach knotting like wet rope, my breath shallow. No reply. I checked my phone every 10 minutes. The screen's glow taunting its silence loud. Nothing. By evening, I paced my apartment. Seattle's rain a steady drum outside, the air heavy with damp. My walls, lined with sketches of forests and faces, felt like they were shrinking, their edges closing in. I called Mom Diane, needing someone to hear me. Her voice was clipped, distracted by clinking dishes, a faucet running. Sadie, Harper's under enough stress. Why can't you let her be happy? I gripped the phone, my nails digging in the plastic warm. Mom, I just asked a question. I didn't sabotage anything. Her sigh was sharp, like I was a tantrum-throwing child. You've always been so critical of her. Let it go. I hung up my chest tight as a clenched fist, my pulse loud in my ears. Critical. I'd spent years building Harper up, cheering her plays, her art projects, my voice hoarse from clapping. I sank onto my couch, its worn fabric familiar, and stared at a framed photo from when I was 12, Harper 8. We're laughing at a county fair, cotton candy sticky on our fingers, the air sweet with sugar. I'd won her a stuffed bear that day, its fur soft against her cheek. Where was that sister? I rummaged through a drawer, finding a letter she wrote at 16 when I left for college. Sadie, you're my hero. We'll always be a team. My eyes burned the ink, blurring the paper, crinkling. Was it all a lie? The next day at work, I was a wreck. My graphic design software, a blur of pixels, the office's hum grating. Tessa, my coworker with her warm, no-nonsense vibe, noticed her coffee mug steaming. You okay, Sadie? You look like you lost your dog. I tried to smile, but my voice cracked raw. My sister banned me from her wedding. Tessa's eyes softened like she'd seen this hurt before. She pulled me to the break room, the coffee machine hissing as she poured us cups, the aroma sharp. My brother cut me off once she said, her voice steady. Thought I'd never recover. You gotta focus on you, not her approval. Her words landed like stones, heavy but true. But I wasn't ready. I wanted Harper's call, her voice saying it was a mistake. I kept checking my phone, desperate for a text, an email, any sign, my fingers cold on the screen. I scrolled Harper's social media, torturing myself, the app's colors bright. Her latest post showed her with Miles, her engagement ring catching the light, captioned, "Counting down to forever." No trace of me, no hint of our fight. It was like I'd vanished. I clicked an old photo I'd posted us as kids, Harper's comment from years ago glowing, "Best big sis ever." Now she'd erased me. That night I sat on my bed, the mattress creaking, sketching aimlessly to calm my racing heart, the pencil's scratch faint. My lines formed a girl alone staring at a locked door, her shadow small, her form faint. It was me shut out. I tore the page, the rip loud in the quiet, my hands trembling. I couldn't let this go. I grabbed my keys. The metal cold, my heart pounding like a drum, the air thick. I'd drive to Harper's, make her listen. She was my sister. We could fix this. Couldn't we? The drive to Harper's felt endless. Seattle's streets slick with rain, streetlights blurring into halos, wipers squeaking. My hands gripped the wheel. My apology letter crumpled in my purse, its words scrawled in a rush of hope ink smudged. I'd spent an hour writing it, spilling my love, my confusion, begging to talk. I wasn't the villain she painted. I pulled up to her bungalow, its white paint gleaming under a street lamp heart, racing my breath, fogging the window. Her car sat in the drive, but the windows were dim. I took a deep breath. The air damp, grabbed the letter, its edges soft, and walked to the door, my shoes squelching. Before I could knock, Miles opened it, his broad frame blocking the light, his jaw set. "Sadie," he said, voice low, "Harper doesn't want to see you." I froze the letter, trembling in my hand, rain spotting my sleeves. "Can I just give her this?" I asked, my voice thinner than I meant, my throat tight. He smirked, leaning against the frame, his eyes cold, his shirt crisp. "She's done with your drama. Go home." I stood there, rain soaking my jacket, words tangling my pulse loud. "Please, Miles, just 5 minutes." He shook his head, the door clicking shut, the sound sharp. I slipped the letter into the mailbox, its slot cold against my fingers, my cheeks burning with shame, and drove off the road, a blur through tears, headlights dim. Back home, I curled up on my couch, the fabric damp from my coat, replaying Miles's words, his smirk cutting. Drama. I'd only tried to protect her. My phone buzzed, a faint hope it was Harper. It was Mom texting about a family dinner tomorrow, one of the few non-wedding events I wasn't banned from. Her words curt. I almost refused, my thumb hovering over decline, but I needed answers, a chance to reach Harper. The next evening, I walked into Mom's house, the smell of her pot roast thick, mingling with red wine's tang, the air warm. Harper wasn't there, but Mom, Greg, and Riley sat with aunts, their voices loud with wedding talk, plates clinking. I sat quietly, my plate heavy with food. I didn't want the napkin rough, waiting for an opening. Mom gushed about Harper's dress, her voice bright as polished glass, her earrings glinting. I couldn't hold it in. "Mom, why is Harper shutting me out?" I asked, my fork clattering, the sound sharp. The table stilled, forks pausing midair, eyes shifting. Greg shifted his chair, creaking his face uneasy, but Mom's eyes narrowed, her napkin crumpling. "Sadie, stop making this about you. Harper's stressed. You questioning Miles didn't help." My throat tightened, my voice sharp, my hands cold. I was looking out for her. "Doesn't that matter?" Mom waved a hand, dismissing me like a fly, her rings flashing. "You're too intense. Always have been." Riley's eyes met mine, tense, like she wanted to speak, but couldn't, her silence a sting. After dinner, Riley pulled me into the hallway, her voice a whisper, her perfume sharp floral. "Sadie, I think Miles is bad news. I saw him at a bar last week, too cozy with some woman, his arm around her." My heart sank heavy as wet sand. "Did you tell Harper?" I asked, my voice low. She nodded, biting her lip, her eyes darting. She laughed it off, called me jealous. "I don't know what to do." I hugged her, her sweater soft, my mind racing the hallway dim. If Riley was right, Harper was blind, and I was helpless. I left Mom's house, the night air cold, my steps heavy on the gravel drive, stones crunching. In my car, I checked my phone, hoping Harper had read my letter, the screen's light harsh. Instead, I saw her new post, her and Miles at a cake, tasting, her smile wide, frosting white against her lips. The caption, "Building our future one sweet moment at a time." Mom's comment, "So proud of my girl." I wasn't in that future, that joy, my absence loud. At work, Tessa found me in the break room, my coffee cold, my eyes fixed on nothing, the room's hum grating. "Still no luck with your sister?" she asked, sliding into a chair, her bracelets clinking softly. I shook my head, my voice gone. She leaned closer, her voice gentle but firm, her eyes steady. Sadie, you can't make her see what she won't. Maybe it's time to step back, do something for you. She slid a flyer across the table, its colors bright, advertising a coastal art retreat in Oregon. Looks like your kind of thing, she said, her smile warm. I stared at it, escape-tugging, but my heart was knotted in Harper's rejection. That night alone, I sat at my desk, the lamp's light harsh sketching the bungalow's mailbox. Its metal cold in my memory, the letter's weight lingering. Had Harper read it? Did she care? My phone buzzed another post, a video of her trying on veils, her laughter bright, careless, filling my screen, her hair gleaming. I turned it off, my hands trembling, my breath short. Something in me was cracking, and I didn't know how much more I could bear. The next morning, I woke with Harper's veil video looping in my mind, her laughter a splinter I couldn't dislodge. I'm Sadie, 29, and I was unraveling. My apartment felt smaller, the air thick with questions, the radiator's hiss a constant drone. I opened my laptop, hoping work would anchor me, but an email pinged a notification from Harper's wedding hashtag, it's chime sharp. I shouldn't have clicked, but I did, my fingers trembling. There she was, glowing in a dress shop, Mom and her bridesmaids, cheering, their voices muffled through the screen's silk rustling. I scrolled, my stomach twisting. In one photo, our family posed smiling, but I'd been cropped out my shoulder, a ghost at the edge, barely there. Mom's comment, perfect family moment. I slammed the laptop shut, my breath shallow, the room spinning, my pulse loud. Perfect family. Without me, I grabbed my phone, fingers trembling, and dialed Mom, needing to know why she was letting this happen, the line crackling. She answered, her voice distracted, a TV humming, laughter faint. Sadie, what now? I swallowed, my throat dry, trying to keep my voice even. Mom, I saw the photos. Why are you acting like I don't exist? Her sigh was long, draining, like I was exhausting her. Harper's wedding is her moment. You're making it harder by stirring things up. My knuckles whitened around the phone, my nails biting. Stirring things up? She banned me, Mom. You're all erasing me. Her tone sharpened, cutting like glass. Maybe if you hadn't been so hard on Miles, we wouldn't be here. You're not the victim, Sadie. I hung up, my vision blurring, tears hot. The phone heavy, hard on Miles. One question, and I was the pariah. I paced, my bare feet cold on the hardwood. Mom's words looping, each one a sting. Had I been too hard on Harper growing up, nudging her to do better? I thought I was helping, but doubt gnawed sharp as teeth. I sank onto my bed, pulling my knees up the mattress, sagging its springs faint. My eyes caught a sketch on the wall, me and Harper as kids holding hands under a summer sky, colors faded. I tore it down the paper, crumpling my breath, hitching the sound sharp. At work I was useless. My designs flat, the computer's hum mocking the office's lights harsh. Tessa caught me staring at my screen, my eyes glassy, my hands still. She dragged me to the rooftop, the city's skyline hazy, the air cool. Spill it, she said, tossing me a soda. Its can cold, fizzing softly. I told her about the photos, Mom's call, how I felt invisible, my voice low. She listened, her face serious, her earrings glinting faintly. Families can be brutal, she said. When my brother shut me out, I had to rebuild myself. You're stronger than you think, Sadie. I nodded, but her words felt far off, a song I couldn't hear. I wasn't strong. I was breaking. That evening, I checked Harper's social media, a habit I couldn't shake, the app's colors bright. She'd posted a story, her and Miles dancing at a sleek venue, her head thrown back, joy radiating, music faint. I watched it 3 times, each loop tightening the knot in my chest, my fingers cold. My phone buzzed, a voicemail. I hadn't noticed its chime jarring. It was Harper, a pocket dial, her voice faint. I turned up the volume, straining, my heart racing. Her words cut through, sharp mocking to Miles. Sadie thinks she's so important, always meddling. She's nothing, just a wannabe artist with no life. I dropped the phone, my hands shaking, the words slicing deep, the room tilting. Nothing I'd given her, everything, time, love, support. I stumbled to my desk, grabbing a sketchbook, my pencil slashing, Harper's face twisted cruel. Not my sister, the line's harsh. I tore it out. My breath, ragged the paper's edge sharp, my hands trembling. She hadn't just banned me. She was rewriting our history, making me the villain to justify her choices. I curled up on the floor, the carpet rough, the voicemail echoing each word a fresh cut. How could she say that? How could she hate me this much? I stayed on the floor for hours. Harper's voicemail carving deeper with every replay, its venom unrelenting. I'm Sadie, 29, and I felt like I was drowning in my own apartment. The air was thick, my thoughts a relentless churn, the radiator's hum grating. I dragged myself to the bathroom, the tiles cold under my feet, and splashed water on my face. The shock sharp but fleeting droplets clinging to my lashes. My reflection looked hollow, eyes red, a stranger staring back. I couldn't stay still, the walls pressing in their shadows long. I grabbed my coat, its wool damp from yesterday's rain, and headed to a cafe down the street, one Harper and I used to love, its warmth, a faint hope. Maybe it would ground me. The cafe was packed, voices, humming, mugs, clinking, the noise jarring my nerves. I ordered a latte, its steam curling, the barista's smile brief, and sat in our old corner booth, tracing the tabletop where we'd carved our initials, the wood worn smooth, the grooves faint. I saw Harper across from me, 16, giggling over boys, her coffee bitter, her smile sweet, her hair catching the light. That memory clashed with her voice, now calling me nothing. My phone buzzed, a text from Mom, its tone sharp. Bridal shower this weekend. You're invited, but please don't make a scene. I stared, my jaw tight, the words stinging like a slap. Invited like a guest in my own family. I typed a reply, then deleted it, my fingers cold, the screen dim. What was the point? Saturday came, and I went to the bridal shower at Mom's house, against every instinct, the air thick with lavender from candles, their flicker unsteady. The living room was a sea of white balloons and lace, a pastel nightmare ribbons curling. Harper stood in the center, radiant in silk opening gifts, as guests cooed, their voices syrupy, their perfume heavy. I hovered near the back, clutching a glass of punch, its sweetness cloying, feeling like an outsider in a room of familiar faces. Riley caught my eye, her expression uneasy, but she stayed by Harper's side, her dress rustling. Then Harper cleared her throat, her voice bright as glass, her earrings gleaming. I just want to say my family's here supporting me, except one person who chose not to come. It's her loss. The room's stilled, eyes darting to me, whispers rustling like leaves, sharp and quick. My face burned, my grip on the glass, tightening its edge, sharp, my pulse loud. She was lying, framing me as the one who walked away. I opened my mouth, but Mom's warning look stopped me. Her lips pursed, her necklace glinting. I set the glass down, my hands shaking, and slipped out to the porch. The air cool but heavy, the wood creaking. Riley followed, whispering, Sadie, I'm sorry. She didn't mean it. I spun on her, my voice sharp, my breath short. Then why say it? Why lie? Riley looked away, mumbling about Harper's stress, her shoes scuffing the wood, her eyes avoiding mine. I walked to my car, my heart pounding, gravel crunching underfoot. At home, I found a package on my doorstep, a plain box from Mom, its tape peeling, the cardboard damp. Inside were my old designs, ones I'd shared with Harper for her invitations, their edges soft from handling ink faded. I checked her social media, my fingers trembling, and saw them, my art on her invitations. My name nowhere, the colors vivid but stolen. I sank onto my couch, the box spilling across the floor, papers scattering like leaves, the room dim. She'd stolen my work, erased my role, and paraded it as hers. I scrolled her posts, each one a fresh wound, a new photo with Mom captioned, My rock through it all. I wasn't in that story that love my absence avoid. I curled up, my body heavy, my mind replaying the shower, the lie, the stolen designs, each moment sharp. I'd given Harper everything, my art, my loyalty, and she'd taken it all, leaving me with this ache jagged as broken glass. I wanted to scream, to confront her, but she'd twist it, make me the villain again. My phone lit up another post, a wedding countdown, her smile untouchable, her eyes bright. I turned it off, but the pain stayed a weight I couldn't lift, pressing me into the dark, my breath shallow. I couldn't sleep. Harper's betrayal burning like a fever unrelenting. I'm Sadie, 29, and my world was collapsing. The stolen designs, her lie at the shower. Mom's silence. It was too much a storm in my chest. I sat at my kitchen table, the Seattle dawn gray through the blinds, my coffee cold, its bitter taste mirroring my mood, the mug heavy. My phone buzzed. An email from Harper sent to our whole family, aunts and cousins, included its chime sharp. My hands shook as I opened it, the screen's glare harsh, my eyes stinging. Sadie stole from my wedding fund, it read. She's been jealous of my happiness. I'm cutting her off for good. I stared, my breath gone, the words a punch, my pulse racing. Stole? I'd never touched her money. My account held a small trust from Dad's will, shared with Harper, untouched for years, its numbers steady. I checked my bank app, frantic, the numbers loading slowly, my fingers trembling. 0. Harper had drained it, claiming it as hers, the screen's truth cold. I called Mom, my voice raw, the phone slippery, my throat tight. Did you see her email? She did this? Not me? Mom's reply was cold, her voice distant, a clock ticking faintly. Sadie, we can't trust you anymore. Even Greg agrees. My heart cracked, a sharp pain spreading my breath, hitching. Greg, always neutral, believed her too. His silence a betrayal. I drove to Harper's bungalow, my vision blurred with tears, the email's words searing rain pelting my windshield. I pounded on her door, the wood slick under my fists, my hair soaked. Harper opened it, her face hard, Miles looming behind his shadow, long, his eyes cold. What do you want? She snapped, her voice cutting her sweater soft but unyielding. I held up my phone, shaking the screen wet. You lied about the money. You stole it and blamed me. Why? She laughed, sharp, cruel, her earrings glinting, her lips tight. You've always been in my way, Sadie. Thinking you're better, meddling in my life. Miles nodded, his smirk ablade, his cologne sharp stinging. You're out, Sadie. Deal with it. I stepped closer, my voice breaking rain mixing with tears, my shoes heavy. I loved you. I gave you everything. How could you do this? Harper's eyes flickered a moment's doubt, but she shrugged, her gaze cold. You made it easy. Get out. I stumbled to my car, my body numb, the rain cold on my neck, my keys slipping. The trust was gone. My family was gone. Her words echoing, you made it easy. I drove aimlessly, ending up at a park we used to visit, its swings rusted empty, creaking in the wind. I sat on a bench, the wood damp, and pulled a photo from my wallet, me and Harper, 10 and 6, swinging, her grin wide, the sky bright. I tore it in half, my sobs, choking me, the pieces falling to the grass, wet and curling. She wasn't my sister anymore. Back home, I rummaged through a box of keepsakes, the cardboard soft with age dust rising, and found a necklace Harper gave me for my 21st birthday, a silver chain engraved, Sisters Forever, its metal cold. I stared at it, my chest heaving, then walked to the kitchen and threw it in the trash, the clink final like a door slamming, the bin's edge sharp. I sank to the floor, my hands over my face, the linoleum cold. Harper's betrayal, a weight crushing me, my breath shallow. I couldn't fight anymore. I was done. I sat on my kitchen floor, the trash can's lid open, the necklace gone, its absence heavy. I'm Sadie, 29, and I was done being nothing. My eyes fell on Tessa's flyer tucked under unopened bills, its colors faded but vivid with promise, the paper creased. I pulled it out, the photo of crashing waves stirring, a hunger for air, for space, the ocean's blue calling. I couldn't stay here drowning in their lies. I opened my laptop, the screen's light soft hands steady for the first time, and booked a week at a Yakut's Inn. My fingers sure. I wasn't running. I was finding myself. I packed a duffel bag, choosing what felt mine, sketchbooks with frayed edges, a wool sweater soft with wear, my camera's leather strap smooth, its lens dusty. My phone buzzed, Riley's name flashing, but I turned it off. The silence a relief, the screen dark. No more pleas, no guilt. I called Tessa, My voice firm, the line crackling her end, noisy with office chatter. I'm going to that retreat. Can you water my plants? She laughed, her voice warm, proud. Sadie, you're gonna be okay. Get out there and breathe. The drive to Yakutsk took 6 hours, the highway winding through misty forests, pines sharp against the sky, fog curling. I rolled down my windows, the damp air rushing in cool on my skin, washing away Seattle's chokehold, my hair tangling. The inn was weathered cedar perched above the ocean, its shingles salt-stained, its porch creaking. Nora, the owner, greeted me, her gray hair tied back, her smile crinkling her eyes, her apron faintly flour-dusted. Welcome, Sadie. You look like you need this place. I nodded, my throat tight, and she handed me a key, its weight grounding to a room overlooking the Pacific. I dropped my bag, the floorboards creaking, and stepped onto the balcony, the waves roaring below, their foam white wild, the air sharp with salt. For the first time, I felt space to think, the horizon wide. I wasn't Harper's sister here, or Mom's disappointment. I was Sadie. I pulled out my sketchbook, its pages crisp, my pencil, moving, tracing the cliff's jagged lines, their edges rough. The strokes were bold, unapologetic, like I wanted to be the pencil's scratch steady. The next morning, Nora pointed me to a coastal trail, her finger tracing a map, her voice calm. I hiked alone, the path winding past tide pools, their water-clear crabs, scuttling shells glinting. My legs burned the air sharp, but it felt good, like shedding a heavy coat, my boots crunching. At a lookout, I met Jude, a quiet guy with paint-stained hands sketching the horizon, his pencil scratching softly, his jacket faded. Nice view, he said, glancing at my sketchbook. You an artist? I hesitated, then nodded, my voice soft, my breath visible. Trying to be. He smiled, no judgment, and we talked about light and shadow, the words easy, like a breeze, the sea's hum soft. Back at the inn, I joined Nora's painting class in a sunny studio, the air smelling of turpentine canvases leaning. The group was small locals, mostly their chatter light, as they mixed colors, brushes clinking. I picked up a brush, its handle smooth, and painted the ocean, not calm but churning, matching my heart, the paint thick. Jude was there, his canvas driftwood and sea, his strokes sure. He leaned over, nodding, his sleeve brushing mine. That's got soul, Sadie. Keep going. I blushed, his words sparking something, a warmth in my chest. I ate dinner with the group, their stories of lost jobs and new starts, swirling, the clink of forks grounding the room warm. Nora sat beside me, her eyes kind, her sweater soft, her voice low. What brought you here, Sadie? She asked. I swallowed the soup, warm, its herbs sharp, and said, My family broke my heart. I needed to remember who I am. She squeezed my hand, her grip firm, steady. You're finding her. I looked at my painting propped against the wall, its blues vivid, and felt a spark of pride, small but real. I wasn't nothing. I was building something new, something no one could take. The spark from that painting stayed a quiet fire I hadn't known I could carry, its warmth steady. I'm Sadie, 29, and Yakutsk was waking me up. The next day I signed up for a kayak trip. Jude mentioned one that took you where the ocean met the cliffs, the water-wild green waves crashing. I'd never kayaked, but I craved the challenge, to feel my own strength, my hands eager. Jude was in the group, his calm steadying me as we paddled through swells, the paddle-heavy water splashing. My arms ached, but I laughed, salt spray stinging my face when a wave rocked us, my hair wet. You're a natural, he said, grinning, his cap damp, his eyes bright. I didn't feel natural. I felt alive, my heart pounding. On the shore, we sat on driftwood, its surface rough, sharing granola bars, their sweetness sharp, the wrappers crinkling. I told Jude about Harper, not all but enough, how she'd turned my family against me, how I'd lost my place, my voice low. He listened, his eyes on the horizon, waves crashing soft, his hands still. My dad wrote me off years ago. He said, his voice low, steady. Took me a long time to stop chasing his approval. You're doing that now, Sadie. Choosing you. His words sank in, heavy but good, like a truth I'd been circling the air cool. Back at the inn, I found Nora in the garden pruning roses, their scent sweet petals falling. She waved me over, handing me shears, their handles, cool blades glinting. "Help me out," she said, her voice warm. I clipped thorns, pricking my fingers, and we talked, the air soft with dusk. I told her about the kayak trip, how I'd felt free out there, the water's pull stronger than my fears. She nodded, her hands steady, her eyes kind. "Freedom's not loud, Sadie. It's quiet like this. You're finding yours." I looked at her, then at the roses, their petals, bright edges soft. I wanted that quiet strength, not just for a week, but for good, my heart steady. The next morning I wandered to a local market stalls, buzzing with crafts, the air thick with bread and cedar voices mingling. I stopped at a booth selling sea glass jewelry drawn to a pendant green and frosted, shaped like a teardrop, its surface cool smooth. It reminded me of the ocean's churn, smoothing sharp edges, its weight light. I bought it, slipping it around my neck, a small promise to myself, the cord soft. I didn't need Harper's approval or Mom's to be whole. At the market, I saw a sign for an art fair, a chance to sell work, its ink bold, the paper creased. On impulse, I signed up, spending the evening refining my ocean painting, the canvas taut paint drying slowly. The next day, I set up a table, my canvas propped beside trail sketches, their lines free bold. People stopped, their voices curious, and a woman bought my painting for $50. Her smile warm, her hands gentle. I stared at the cash, my heart swelling, the bills crisp new. It wasn't the money. It was mine. Something I'd made, something no one could twist or steal. Nora found me after, her eyes bright, her scarf fluttering, her laugh soft. "That's just the start, Sadie. You've got a gift." She offered me a part-time job at the inn, helping with art classes, maybe staying longer. Her voice hopeful. I didn't say yes yet, but the idea rooted a future I could shape, steady and real. That night I sat in my room, the sea glass pendant cool against my skin, its weight grounding. I pulled out a notebook and wrote a letter to Harper, not to send, but to release the pen's scratch, loud, steady. "I forgive you," I wrote, "not because you deserve it, but because I deserve peace." I closed the notebook, my breath steady, and walked to the balcony, the air cool, the ocean's rhythm a pulse in my bones. I touched the pendant, its curve smooth, and stood there silent, the stars faint above. I wasn't the Sadie who'd begged for her sister's love. I was someone new, someone who could stand alone and not break. I turned back to my room, the night quiet, and knew I wasn't going back. The tide pulled back, leaving wet sand gleaming under my feet, its surface smooth cool. I'm Sadie, 29, and the ocean couldn't drown out Mom's blame. I slipped my phone into my pocket, its weight heavier than the sea glass at my throat, the cord soft. Back at the inn, I found a package waiting, no return address. Just my name in Greg's careful handwriting, the ink slightly smudged, the envelope crinkled. Inside was our old sketchbook, its cover worn, filled with doodles Harper and I made as kids, their lines faded. A note slipped out, his words, simple, steady. "Sadie, you're stronger than you know. I'm proud." I traced the sketchbook's edges, my throat tight, the paper soft, its corners curling. Greg's words were soft, but they didn't erase Mom's accusations or Harper's lies. I set it aside and walked to the inn's common room, its wood walls warm, the air faintly smoky, where Jude was reading by the fire, its crackle low shadows dancing. He looked up, his eyes catching the tension in mine. His book creased, his sweater worn. "Family stuff?" he asked, his voice low. I nodded, sitting across the chair's cushion, sinking its fabric rough. "They want me to fix their mess," I said, my voice low, the words heavy, my hands clasped. "But I'm done being their glue." He leaned forward, his book forgotten, the firelight flickering, his eyes steady. "You don't owe them, Sadie. Not after what they did." His certainty steadied me, but my phone rang, Harper's name flashing the screen, bright, its chime sharp. I let it go to voicemail, my hands clenched, nails digging into my palms, my breath short. Her message was a sob, broken raw, her voice trembling. "Sadie, I messed up. I need you. Please call." I stared at the screen, her voice tugging at old wounds, but I didn't call back. I couldn't. Not yet, my heart too raw. That evening I joined Nora for tea in her kitchen. The inn quiet, the kettle's whistle soft, the air warm with steam. She slid a mug toward me, its warmth grounding her gaze gentle, but piercing her hands steady. "You're carrying something heavy," she said. "Want to share?" I sipped the tea's steam, curling its flavor sharp, and told her about Harper's call, Mom's texts, the sketchbook's weight, my voice low. "They're falling apart," I said, "and they think I'm the answer." Nora's eyes softened, her voice calm. "You're not their savior, Sadie. You're allowed to choose yourself." Her words echoed Jude's, but the ache lingered, a bruise I couldn't ignore, deep and tender. I walked to my room, the sketchbook on my bed, its pages a map of a sisterhood lost, its weight heavy. I opened it, finding Harper's clumsy sketch of us holding hands labeled Best Sisters, the crayon faded, smudged. I closed it, my chest hollow, the room's silence thick, the air still. They were reaching for me now, but it was too late. Their need felt like a trap, not love. Before bed, I checked my email, finding a message from Riley, her words hesitant, careful. "Sadie, I'm sorry I didn't stand up sooner. Harper's broken, but she knows she was wrong." I wrote back my words, measured the keyboard's clicks, soft, deliberate. "I'm glad you tried, Riley. I need time." I hit send, then stood at my window, the ocean, a dark murmur below its rhythm, steady, its scent, sharp. Harper's sobs. Mom's demands. Greg's quiet faith. They swirled in me, a storm I couldn't outrun. I touched the sea glass, its coolness a faint comfort, and shut my eyes, the darkness soft. I'd chosen myself, but the cost was this silence, this emptiness where my family used to be. The morning sun spilled through my window, painting the inn's walls gold, the light soft on the wooden beams, its warmth gentle. I'm Sadie, 29, and Yachats had become my refuge. I'd stayed past my planned week, taking Nora's offer to help with her art classes, their rhythm steadying me, the routine grounding. My days settled into a flow coffee with Jude, his mug steaming, teaching locals to paint their brushes, scraping canvas, walking the shore at dusk, the sand cool, waves hissing. The ocean's pulse was my clock now, not Harper's chaos or Mom's demands. I'd kept my phone off, letting their voices fade, choosing this quiet over their storm, the silence freeing. I started each day on a bluff near the inn, wildflowers clinging to the cliffs, their petals bright against gray stones swaying softly. I'd sit cross-legged, a thermos of tea warm in my hands, watching gulls wheel against the sky, their cries sharp, their wings white. My sketchbook stayed closed. I didn't need to draw to feel the world anymore. I breathed the salt air, filling me sharp and clean, the horizon wide. I thought about the girl I'd been in Seattle, always fixing, always pleading, her shadow faint, now her edges soft. She was still part of me, less afraid, like a tide pulling back, leaving space. One morning I joined Jude at the community center, setting up easels for a kid's art class. The room smelling of paint and pine, the air bright. Their laughter, messy with color, pulled me out of my head, their small hands smearing blue and yellow canvases bright. A girl, maybe 8, showed me her canvas, a wobbly sun over a blue sea, her grin shy, her ponytail swinging. "It's for my mom," she said. I knelt beside her, smiling, the floor hard under my knees, my voice soft. "She's gonna love it." I saw myself in her, wanting to please, but now I knew I could please myself, my heart steady. After class, Nora invited me to her porch, where she kept a table for whittling driftwood, its surface scarred, wood chips scattered. She handed me a knife, its handle smooth, and a piece of wood, teaching me to carve, her hands patient. My hands fumbled, the blade catching, but she smiled. "You're learning to let go," she said, "not just the wood." I nodded, carving a curve, the shavings curling, feeling like release, the air soft. We worked in silence, the ocean's hum wrapping us, its rhythm steady. I told her I'd stopped checking Harper's posts, stopped waiting for apologies. "I'm not angry anymore," I said, my voice low. "I just want this." That evening I walked to a cove I'd found hidden by rocks, where tide pools held starfish and anemones, their colors vivid, water rippling. I sat on a boulder, my bare feet in the water, its chill sharp, and thought about Dad. his laugh warm, his hands rough. He died when I was 15, leaving me and Harper to navigate Mom's favoritism, her voice louder for Harper. I used to think I had to hold us together, but now I saw I'd been holding myself back. I whispered to the waves, "I'm okay, Dad. I'm finding my way." My voice soft, the water cool. The inn's guests started calling me by name, their voices warm, asking about my next painting, their smiles kind. I wasn't just a visitor. I was part of this place, its rhythm mine. At dinner, Nora shared a story about a guest who stayed a month, then never left her. Laugh soft, her eyes bright. "You could do that, Sadie," she said, her voice hopeful. I laughed, the idea settling a seed of possibility, my heart open. I went to bed, the cove's starfish in my mind, and felt a calm I hadn't known I could claim, steady and deep. I stood on the bluff the next morning, tea steaming the horizon, endless, its lines sharp, the air cool. My heart was scarred, but beating steady, its rhythm sure. I'd built something here, not from anger, but choice my own. The wind carried a salt tang, and I closed my eyes, letting it hold me, its touch soft. I wasn't running anymore. I was home. The days in Yahats blurred into a soft rhythm, each one stitching me back together thread by thread. I'm Sadie, 29, and I was learning to live without Harper's shadow. I'd taken to helping Jude restore a mural on the town library, a faded scene of fishing boats, their hulls chipped, paint peeling. We worked side by side, scraping old paint, the air sharp with turpentine, our brushes steady, the canvas rough. He didn't ask about my past, his quiet company a gift, his flannel sleeve brushing mine, his hands steady. "You're good at this," he said, nodding at my strokes. The paint smooth, vibrant. I smiled, my hands sure, my heart light. "I'm learning," I said, my voice calm. One afternoon, a letter arrived from Greg, his handwriting shaky, the envelope creased, paper soft. "Diane's seeing a therapist," he wrote. "She's starting to see how she hurt you." I read it twice, the words settling like stones in a stream, smooth but heavy, their weight steady. I didn't feel anger, just a distant ache, like a bruise fading faint, but there. I wrote back a short note, wishing them well, but needing space, my pen steady, ink dark. I sealed it, my heart calm, and dropped it in the inn's mailbox. Its slot cool, the metal smooth. I wasn't closing the door, but I wasn't rushing through it, my steps sure. That evening I joined Nora for a walk along the beach. The sand cool under my feet, waves hissing softly, their foam white. We stopped at a driftwood pile, its wood bleached by salt, smooth to the touch, and she handed me a shell, its spiral smooth, small. "Keep it," she said, her voice warm. "For the road ahead." I tucked it in my pocket, its weight a gentle promise, the texture grounding cool. We talked about my plans, how I wanted to stay, maybe teach art full-time. My voice steady. "You've got roots here, Sadie," she said, her eyes kind. I nodded, the truth, warming my chest, its glow soft. The next day, Riley showed up at the inn, her face nervous but open, her coat damp from the drive, her scarf loose. I hadn't expected her, but I led her to the porch, where we sat with mugs of cider, its steam curling, its apple tang sharp. "I'm sorry I didn't fight for you sooner," she said, her eyes wet, her hands fidgeting, her voice soft. "Harper's lost, but she's starting to see what she did." I listened, my hands still, and told her about my life here. The mural, the kids I taught, their laughter bright, their paint smudged, hands eager. "I'm not going back, Riley," I said, my voice steady, the words clear, my heart calm. "But I'm glad you're here." We hugged, a cautious bridge forming, not fully built but possible, her hair soft against my cheek, her breath warm. After she left, I walked to the library. The mural taking shape, boats vivid against a new sky, the paint fresh, bold. I added a small figure on the shore, a woman alone, her back to the sea, her stance firm, her form small but sure. It was me, not lonely, but whole. I stepped back, paint on my fingers, the brush light, and felt a quiet pride, deep and steady. I'd carried my scars here, but they weren't my story anymore. That night I sat in my room, the shell from Nora on my nightstand, its curve catching the lamplight, its surface smooth. I thought about Harper, not with pain but with clarity, her face softer in my mind, her edges blurred. She'd made her choices, and I'd made mine. I didn't need her to see me to know who I was. I opened my window, the ocean's breath cool, its rhythm steady, and let the moment hold me. I was enough, and that was all I needed to carry forward. I lay down, the inn's quiet, wrapping me the air soft, and closed my eyes. The world felt still, not empty, but full of what I'd built. I breathed slow, the shell's spiral in my mind, its shape clear, and let myself rest. Tomorrow would come, and I'd meet it standing. I'm Sadie, 29, and it's been 6 months since I left Seattle's shadows behind, their weight fading. Yachats is my home now, its salty air woven into my days, the scent sharp in my lungs, the ocean's hum constant. I wake early. Brewing coffee in the inn's kitchen, the pot's gurgle familiar, the aroma rich before heading to the community center, where I teach art to kids and retirees. Their faces eager or hesitant remind me why I stayed, their voices a soft hum, their smiles warm. I rent a small cottage near the shore, its walls bare except for my new sketches, tide pools and gulls drawn with light strokes free of pain, their lines soft. Each morning I walk a gravel path to a quiet beach, my boots crunching the stones small underfoot, the air damp. I carry a thermos. It's metal warm, and sit on a log watching the fog lift the horizon, clear waves whispering. I used to think I needed Harper's love to feel whole, but here with the waves' steady hum, I know I'm enough, my heart steady. I've built a routine, not rigid but grounding, painting, teaching, sharing meals with Nora and Jude, their laughter soft, their plates clinking. Last week I bought a used bike, its red frame chipped but sturdy, and ride it to the market, the wind sharp on my cheeks, the basket rattling, shells jangling inside. I don't check Harper's social media anymore, but Riley keeps me updated, her texts short but honest, her words careful. She visits sometimes, bringing stories of mom's therapy, Harper's slow unraveling, her voice soft over coffee. They're trying, Riley says, but I don't carry their weight. I listen, nod, and let it pass like clouds over the ocean, their shapes fleeting soft. My cottage has a tiny porch where I sit at dusk reading poetry. The pages soft, the words quiet, or listening to the world's hush. One night I found a stray cat, skinny and gray, meowing at my door, its eyes wide, wary. I named her Tide, fed her scraps, and now she curls up beside me, her purr a small comfort, her fur warm, soft. I've started a new project, a series of watercolors for a local gallery, show their colors soft but vivid seafoam on rocks. A lone buoy in mist, their edges blurred. Painting feels different now, less about proving myself, more about seeing clearly, the brush light in my hand, its strokes free. Jude helps me frame them, his hands careful, his laugh easy, his shirt smelling of pine, his presence steady. We're not dating, not yet, but there's a warmth when he's near, a possibility. I'm not afraid of steady as the tide, its rhythm sure. Nora threw me a birthday party last month, my 30th, in the inn's garden, the air sweet with jasmine, the night cool. The group was small locals and guests with string lights and homemade cake, its icing sweet, its texture soft. I stood there holding a glass of cider, its fizz sharp, their voices wrapping me like a quilt, warm and real. I didn't need a big family to feel loved. These people, this place chose me and I chose them, their warmth a quiet gift. I still think about Dad sometimes, how he'd hum while cooking, his apron stained, his voice warm, how he'd call me his artist, his eyes proud. I like to think he'd smile at this life, its simplicity, its truth. I don't carry his loss like I used to. It's a quiet part of me, not a wound, like a song half remembered, its notes soft. I've learned to hold things lightly, grief, hope, love, their edges gentle. My days aren't perfect, but they're mine, and that's more than I ever thought I'd have. I sit on my porch now, Tide at my feet, the sky bruising purple, the air cool, the ocean's murmur steady. I'm not the Sadie who begged for a place in Harper's world. I've found my own, and it's enough. I close my eyes, the salt air soft, and let the moment settle, a quiet pause. Yesterday I walked to the gallery. My watercolors hung under soft lights, their colors glowing, the room hushed. I'm Sadie, 29, And seeing my work there, simple but honest, felt like a quiet victory, a step claimed. Locals milled around, their murmurs warm, some asking about my process, their voices curious kind. A woman older with silver hair bought a piece, a small wave curling against a stone, its foam delicate. "It reminds me of resilience," she said, her smile gentle. I nodded, my throat tight, knowing she saw what I'd poured into it, my heart open. Jude stood nearby, giving me a proud nod, his eyes warm, and I realized I'd built more than art here. I'd built trust in myself and others, a foundation steady. Riley sent a letter last week, tucked in a package with a photo of us as cousins, gap-toothed and grinning, the paper worn, faded. "Harper's taking steps." She wrote her words careful. "She asked me to send you this." Inside was a note from Harper, her handwriting small, hesitant. "Sadie, I was wrong. I hurt you, and I'm sorry. I'm trying to be better." I read it, my hands steady, the paper soft, and set it on my shelf. Not as a bridge, but a marker, a quiet reminder. I didn't owe her forgiveness, but I felt a flicker of peace knowing she was facing her truth, her words raw but real. Mom emails sometimes, short messages about her therapy, her regrets, her words measured careful. I reply polite but brief, keeping my boundaries firm, my responses short, my heart calm. Greg's letters are warmer, full of stories about his garden, roses blooming, and I answer with sketches of the coast, their lines light free. I'm not ready for more, but I'm not closing them out, the door ajar but steady. I've learned love doesn't mean saying yes to everything. It means choosing what keeps you whole, what holds your heart safe. I ride my bike to the cliffs now, a basket tied to the handlebars for shells or wildflowers. Its wicker creaking, the wheels humming. Last week I found a smooth pebble, flat and gray, perfect for skipping, its surface cool. I stood at the water's edge, flicking it across the surface, watching it dance before sinking, the ripples soft, fleeting. It felt like letting go, not of Harper or Mom, but of the need to prove I was enough. I am enough, not because I won or they lost, but because I chose to live on my terms, my heart steady, free. The lesson came slow, carved out of pain and salt air, each wave a teacher. You don't need everyone to see your worth to claim it. Sometimes walking away isn't losing, it's finding yourself, your own light. I wish I'd known that sooner, but I know it now, and it's changed how I move through the world. I carry that truth quietly, like the pebble's weight in my pocket, a reminder I can always start again, my steps. Sure. I hope you're still with me, listening to this story, its weight shared. What's one choice you made that set you free, even if it hurt? Share it below. I'd love to hear your voice, your truth. If this story touched you, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need it. Someone searching for their own path. Your support means the world, keeping these stories alive, breathing. Thank you for being here, for holding space for this journey. Here's to healing, to choosing ourselves, and to carrying on one steady step at a time.